TGIF, everyone. That means thank goodness it's Friday. We made it. We've made it through quarantine alphas. Omegas, you made it through the week without me. Great job. Um, I hope you have a wonderful day today with the sub again today. Um, it'll be lesson 8 today. We're going to be adding and subtracting fractions in the same lesson. And we'll be using a number line and tape diagram. Well, not really, but mostly number line, but we'll try to shift out of that and just do it numerically, showing just the multiplication to create equivalent fractions so that you can add and subtract. So without further ado, I guess, let's just get into it and let's get adding and subtraction some decimals. All right, so let me switch this page. Ooh, too bright. Bright lights. All right, let's get going. So I want you to first write down this fraction expression. And it's actually 1 whole plus 1 3/4. So if we were to take that and turn it into pictures, I could draw it like this, right? I could have 1 whole plus 1 whole plus 3/4. Let me color these holes in too. So that is really what we're showing, right? 1 plus 1 plus 3/4. Now, one thing we noticed when I added, did I have to turn all my holes into fourths? No, because we already knew there were holes. We don't need to cut them into smaller pieces. And if I think about it as money, do you want all your money as change from the cashier, or do you want your money as big of bills as possible and then the parts? And the answer is always going to be you want the biggest bills possible so that you have the fewest amount of money. So you want the holes together as possible, and then you get the parts as your change over there on the right. Well, I don't want to have to draw pictures to solve these. So they're going to ask us to be drawing number lines today. And we know that the first jump is going to be a 1 jump. So that's a +1, right? And then there's going to be another +1 for the other hole. That's going to get me to 2. And then I know that it's not another hole, but it goes to fourths. So I'm only going to show fourths. And I'm using the highlighter, which I really don't like using as a pen tool. But you can see that I only changed the 2 to 3 holes as fourths. Did that just get, I think my eyes just got blurry or that got blurry. I am not sure. But we only have to split the hole that we're going to have parts in. So we'll notice that. But when we subtract, it's totally different. So just be ready for that. So let's go ahead and clear our page. So what would actually our answer be? I'm sorry. Well, the answer would be 2 and 3/4, right? Now that was obviously easy because the first add-in, the first number that we were adding to this in this expression was just a whole number. Well, that might get more challenging when it's fraction plus fraction. So just be ready for that and start thinking about what you might have to do for that. All right, so let me clear my work there. And let's go ahead and think about another addition problem. And it'll be 2 and 3/10 plus 3 holes. Now, I'm not going to ask us to draw a picture, but I do want to try to think about how we would use this on a number line. Now, the first time we added whole plus whole, and then we waited to add the parts to the end. So that's what I would like us to think about when we're doing this one. Let's just rewrite this, pulling everything apart, and I'm going to use a different color. We're going to make it so it's whole number plus fraction. So we're going to take this apart. Okay, so we're going to split the fraction and the whole number apart. So we're going to do 2 plus 3 plus 3/10. So we're just taking the 2 and 3/10 apart and just changing the order of when we add it. So we know we're going to start at 0. The first jump I'm going to do is a +2 jump. So I'm going to land right at 2. The next jump I'm going to make is a +3 jump, which is should take us to, come on, yep, 5. And then I know the next part of my number, or the next part of the expression, is a part of a number. It's not a whole, so it's pieces, right? So, and it's tenths, so I need to create tenths. So that's half, so I need 5 pieces on each side, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And so 3/10 would go right here. And I'll label that I just added 3/10. So we can see that the answer is 5 3/10. Now, some of you might have been able to see that before we even added these up, or before we even drew the number line. That's okay. But if you know that before you even do the number line, then it shouldn't be very hard to work with the number line and prove that you know it. All right, so we'll keep practicing that style on our problem set, but let's try a couple that are subtraction problems. So let's go ahead and do 1 minus 1/4. Now, this is a little different, right? Because we're not just putting pieces together. And on this, it's 1 minus 1/4. So we have to think, okay, well, our number line needs to at least go to 1 because that's our whole. That's what we're starting with. And then we're subtracting fourths. So we need to think about making fourth marks. And then we're subtracting 1/4. So we're just going backwards 1/4. We're subtracting 1/4. Now, because we know fractions, we know that we just cut those into fourths. So that's 1/4, 2/4. This would be 3/4. So our answer is 3/4. So we're going to show how to use the number line so that we don't have to show any regrouping. We'll work on that in the next few lessons, but let's try another one. Let's do 2 minus 3/5. So where should we start on the number line? Well, yeah, our number line better go all the way to 2. And because we're subtracting less than one whole, I want to make sure that the whole number less than 2 is there, or the less than the whole that we started. We want one less. So anytime that we are subtracting less than one whole, we know that it's less than one whole because it's only 3/5. Let's make sure that we show those holes on our number line. So we're subtracting, we start at 2. Okay, I got 2 on there. And we're subtracting 3/5. We know the answer is not going to come over on this section. So do we need to put fifths all the way over here too? No, we do not. Because we know that the answer is going to fall in this section of our number line. But we don't know exactly where. So let's turn our holes on this number line into fifths. So that will be 4 cuts. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now we have it into fifths. Now we can show our number line jump. That's 1, 2, 3. So that's subtracting 3/5. You don't have to do the little jumps. You could have done one big jump to do that. I just did little jumps. So now how do we find out where we are? Well, we know this is one whole. And we knew that these are fifths. So that's 1 1/5. And then our answer would be 1 2/5. Great job. All right, let's do one more subtraction practice, and then we'll go to problem set. Whoops. All right, let's do 3 minus 1 2/3. Ooh, all right. So where should we start on our number line? Well, let's get a number line all the way to 3. Now, let's also show 2 and 1 so that we have our whole numbers there. Now, where should we start on this number line? Yeah, we're going to start at 3. Now, should we subtract the 1 whole or 2/3 first? Yeah, let's do the wholes just like we did when we were adding first. We're going to subtract 1 whole. What's left of the number to subtract? Well, I've done the 1 whole. Yeah, now what's left is 2/3. But before I can do 2/3, I need to make that whole that I'm inside of thirds. I don't have to do 0 to 1 because I know that it's not going to subtract all the way over there. It's subtracting 2/3, so I'm just going to subtract to 2/3. And I can see that my answer is landing on 1 and 1/3. So this is 1 and 1/3. So that will be the lesson today. Let's go ahead and do the problem set together. If you're in class, you can always pause me and just work ahead of myself. I mean, at home too, but you guys don't have to listen to me the entire time while you're at work or school. You can pause me, do the work. Make sure you check yourself as you move on. Let's go take a look at lesson 8. Get our names on it. Great. Your substitute will have these problem sets for you and your exit ticket when you're done. It says add and subtract. It does not say use a number line. I'd like you to use it if you need to. So I'll just let it be like that. I'll let you just go at it how you feel like it. The number line strategy is there for you to use, but you don't need to use it. So let me show the number line, 0. I don't know where it's going to end, so I'm just going to start with going whole number plus fraction. So whole number, my first jump is +2. So that's going to land on 2. And then I'm going to do a +1. So 2 + 1 is going to land me on 3. And then let me make my number line a little bit bigger. And then I'm adding fifths. So I know that I'm going to 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So I know that just jumping 1/5 right here will give me 3 1/5. I highly suggest when you're subtracting to use the number line and not just doing it in your head or numerically. We'll practice numerically in the next coming lessons where we show how to regroup and work a little bit, strengthening those skills. All right. Let's just do all the adding right now. Let's just work our way down the left-hand side. I can see the B, D, F, and H are all subtracting. Let's keep our brain in addition, and let's keep working from there. So number line, I'm going to start at 0. And remember, I want to do whole number plus whole number, and then we'll add the pieces. So the first jump is going to be a +5. So that's going to land me at 5. The next jump is going to be a +2, because I'm going to do the whole numbers. And now I can add fifths. So let me go ahead and add to my next large whole. 1, 2, 3, 4. And the first one's going to be 2/5 plus 2/5. And then the next one's going to be 1, 2, 3 plus 3/5. And it looks like it lands right on 8. So our answer is going to be 8 and 0/5, right? But you don't have to show that. All right, another number line. Now, notice in my number line, I'm not showing every mark on the number line. I'm just showing the spots where the number line would jump to. So once again, we're going to do whole number plus whole number, and then the fraction plus fraction if we had. So our first jump is going to be +9. Second jump's a +8. What is 8 plus 9? Well, that would be 17. And then we can see that now what's left is adding 3/4. So I'm going to give us the next whole and go ahead and add 4ths and show my 3/4 there to it. So our answer should be 17 and 3/4. Okay, keep it going. Yeah, when the numbers get bigger, don't be scared about this number line. Add 15, okay, so we're gonna go jump to 15. Look, it's like the same size jump as I made for +9, but it's really saying +15 on this one because it doesn't matter about the size as long as I'm labeling these spots. All right, +17 is my next. Ooh, I don't know what +17 is off the top of my head. I actually do, but if you don't, set it up over here. And you can see that you get to 32. And now we're done with the whole numbers. Now we're just adding the fractions. So I'm going to make my next whole one more higher, mark my thirds, show my thirds jump, my 2/3 jump, and our answer is going to be 32 and 2/3. All right, well, let's show some subtracting now. All right. So when we have our number line with subtraction, we can actually show where we end or with the whole. So we can start with the first part of the subtraction number is going to be the last part of our number line. And the same thing's true here. We're going to subtract the whole first. So we're going to subtract 1. That's going to give us 1. And then we need to subtract 8. So we need this next whole into 8s. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yep, got it. So 3 of them. 1, 2, 3. That goes right there. Minus 3 8s. So what's our answer? Well, that's 1 8, 2 8, 3 8, 4 8, 5 8s. That is a 5 8s answer. So our answer for this one is just 5 8s. Great. Moving on. Let's go. Just keep it cruising. Again, remember, you can always pause me. I am moving. I don't want these videos to be super, super long. Oops. I know that they already pushed 20 minutes. All right, so the first jump we take is a minus 2. Well, if we subtract 2 from 4, what do we get? Well, we land at 2 again. Now we're subtracting sevenths. Well, we know that we can represent one whole here because we know we need to cut one whole into sevenths so we can subtract. So this needs 6 cuts, 3, 4, 5, 6, and we're going to subtract 2 of those, minus 2 7. And then we got to think about which one do we land on. 1 and 1 7th, 1 and 2 7th, 1 and 3 7th, 1 and 4 7th, 1 and 5 7th. 1 and 5 7th. Make that one a little bit longer, Mr. Briggs. All right. Whew, here we go. We're cruising. So our number line at the beginning, 0, over here at the end, 17. Now we're subtracting 15 first, so I'm just gonna, again, this does not have to be so accurate in terms of the number line because you're gonna be labeling. So if I subtract 15 from 17, I'm left with 2. Now I need to subtract thirds, so I need to show one less whole. So that would be 1, and then cut that whole into thirds, subtract those 2 thirds, and we see that we're left with 1 and 1/3. All right, 100 minus 20 and 7/8. So 0, 100. We're going to subtract 20. So if we subtract 20 from 100, we get 80. And then one less whole than that would be 79. And then we need to cut these into 8s. And then I can go ahead and subtract 7 of those 8s and see that we're left with 79 and 1/8. All right, so let's see what the back of the problem set is. All right, it looks like 2 word problems. I'd like you to pick one of these to do. So I'll just make you do 2. So let's go ahead and read it together. And we won't have to do 3. So you can cross out 3, but we are going to do 2. Calvin had 30 minutes in timeout. Ooh, Calvin was a bad boy. And for the first 23 1/3 minutes, Calvin counted spots on the ceiling. Ugh. For the rest of the time, he made faces at his stuffed tiger. How long did Calvin spend making faces at his tiger? I wonder if he got the purpose of this timeout, Calvin. Maybe you should have been thinking about your behaviors, Calvin. I'm sorry, I couldn't help myself. All right, so he spent 30 minutes in timeout. The whole is 30 minutes, right? I'm just going to draw myself a picture. This is 30 minutes. And for the 23 and a half, he did looking at the ceiling, but how long did he look at Tiger? So what kind of math problem is this? And this is the only reason why we like to draw these pictures is to help us figure out what the problem's really asking us. And it's a part-whole question. So this is a subtraction question. So we don't know one of the parts. So let's go ahead and set up the mathematical operation, the expression. So it's 30 minus 23 and a half. Now that we have that, let's go ahead and make that number line. We're going to start at 0. We're going to end at 30. Our first jump is going to be a minus 23. Where should that leave us at? Once again, I could have done, I do that in my head, but so many of us still struggle with facts that we really need to practice. So when we subtract 23, we're left with 7, but we still have to work with that half. So we're going to take one less whole. We're going to show our half marks, and we're going to subtract 1/2. And we see that our answer is 6.5. So this is going to equal 6 and 1/2. But it's asking us, how long did Calvin spend making faces? Well, Calvin spent 6.5 minutes making faces. Oh, oops, period. There it is. All right. So now that your problem set is done, you can go ahead and ask Mrs. Cartman for your exit ticket. People at home, pull your exit ticket out, give it your best. It looks like, let's see what it looks like. Come on, Mr. Riggs, flip to it. It looks like it's just 4 problems, adding and subtracting, and try to use the number line if you can. All right, good job today. I miss y'all. Let me know if you need any of my help.